Hey friends, Tiffany here. Welcome to my quilting life. In today's video, we're going to open the May Open Gate Quilt box. So make sure you cut the tape. Look at this. This is what the box looks like. Let's see what we got in May. Let's tear this paper, open it up, and see what's inside. So you always get a paper that tells you that it's the May box or whatever month, what your projects are, your notion, your thread, and your fat quarter of the month. And then there's add-ons you can get for like the backing or whatever for the projects and so on and so forth. So let's see what we got. First off the top is the project. It is Robin quilt or bag. So that's what it looks like. So it makes a quilt. It includes fabric for the top and the binding for either the quilt or a bag. It's Botany by Moda Fabrics, and the full color is in the picture. That's what we're going to make. We're going to make the quilt, not a bag. All right. Then next we've got a mini duster by the Gypsy Quilter. Wow, they just come up with everything, don't they? Look at this duster is going to come in handy. I'm going to get dusting on all the stuff, everything, all over my machine because, you know, I really need to. Let's open this actually because, you know, we're right here. We can open this up and pull this little duster out and see how soft it is because it looks like super soft. We're going to pull this out and look. Oh, that feels amazing. Oh, look at this thing. It's so cute. It unpopped. Look at that. Oh, that feels amazing. Woohoo. I'm going to clean my machine before we start sewing. Then the fat quarter is Bee Garden by Moda Fabrics. These are the butterfly parts, and this is my favorite. I love butterflies. Maybe Monique knew it was like somehow supposed to just be for me only because it's got butterflies on it, but anyways, as you can see, it has some gold accents in it. I bet you the other fabrics have the bees and all sorts of other bugs probably. All right, that's so adorable. I love that. The thread is Orfil thread. It's color 2026, so it's a cream color. Not quite white, but it's cream. So that's what the thread is, color 2026. And project number 2 is a little notions box that's supposed to be 4.5 by 4.5 by 1 3/4. Oh, okay. Yep, it's a little box, you know, like the kind you stick things in. I've been meaning to make a few of these. I should make more than one because I need more than one of these to put little things in all over my desk. I made a bunch a long time ago, but it's time I make some more. All right, let's clean this mess up. Not the duster. I need the duster. All right, let's throw this aside and see what we're going to do today. Oh, wait, obviously, you already knew. We're going to do that. So I'm going to pull the fabrics out of here and show them to you and then press them, like always. All right, so let's open this up. Obviously, this is the directions. This is what it's supposed to look like. I'm not going to show you the directions. Oh, if I was to make a bag, that's what the bag would look like. I'm not making a bag, though. I don't need another bag. Oh, look, directions look easy. I'm not going to let you see them, but they look easy. Let's check out this fabric. Again, the fabric is Botany by Moda Fabrics. Ooh, look at that. That's actually pretty. Ooh, yeah, I like that. That's nice. That's nice. All right, look at this that goes with it. Ooh, that's pretty too. I'm the kind of girl that doesn't like roses, but I like fabric with roses on it. And we have a white. And then we have a taupe or tan or whatever you want to call it. I call it taupe. And then a peachy pink because it's kind of pink, but it's kind of peach. And I don't know how well the camera picks these up, but the project picks these up quite well. It looks amazing. So I'm going to take this over and press it all. Okay, before I get started, let's do some dusting. Ooh, get that whole area. Oh, look at that. Ooh, nice and clean. Ooh, let's dust right here. Ooh, we're going to dust up here and there. This is like perfect. Like if it's behind there, look at that. Ooh, yeah, gets out of that area. Let's dust the top. Ooh, gotta get there, up there. Yep, yep. Get this. Sometimes I lift the handle and get the dust that accumulates under there. Go across this whole top. Get this little section right here. I'm gonna hold the thread tight, squeeze my little guy up in all those areas. Woo-wee! Look at all that dust. Get up under here. Look at that. Nice and clean. Let's see. Oh, you can see the dust on there. Look at that. That was a dirty, dusty machine. All right, on to sewing. So I got all of my fabric pressed, and now I'm going to open the instructions and give it a quick read to figure out what's what and what am I doing for what. Because I know I don't like to show the measurements, but one section on the front is for the bag, one section I'm wiggling it a lot so you can't copy that. And the other side is for the quilt. So I'm looking for the side that says quilt and what I need to cut. So give me a second to look through all that, which you probably won't even know I'm gone. All right, I'm gonna move these over and out of the way right there. And my first cut is going to be of this one. And I'm going to go ahead and speed it up while I cut things out since I cannot give you the measurements. But it's kind of really easy to read. There's charts for everything you're cutting as well. So it should be pretty easy to follow along. So fast forwarding, here we go. All right, now it is time to do some sewing. So we're going to sew, well, technically these go on the opposite sides, just so that I know, because my brain will see it wrong, since you already saw I had brain problems with the cutting instructions. There's one thing that probably should be done first, and that's before on the part for the quilt top for the wall hanging on the light fabric, probably should cut a 1.5 inch strip off first, then make all those other cuts according to the diagram, because I got confused there. So instead, cut the 1.5 inch strip first and then do the rest of everything. I think that'd be easier. Okay, so all of these tan or taupe or beige is what they're calling it, fabrics are always going to go on the right side, and the white will always go on the left side. So this is my left, this is my right. Obviously you're on the opposite side, but this is my left, this is my right. So beige will always be on the right. So we are going to make 2 pieces like this, and we're just going to sew a bunch of these right here, just like this, like this. And then we're going to press them and attach this. So we're going to press towards the beige on all of them, and then we're going to attach the peachy pink color on the thing. It's called pink. So we're going to sew all these first and then get to this. So I stacked mine up, and it's best to just bring the stack to the machine, just like this in front of you. And with a 1/4 inch seam allowance, just take 2, put them together, line them up, sew on down, and then just chain piece the whole lot of them, and that helps get things done lickety split. So I'm just literally going to chain piece all of this. Make sure you're always putting them in the same way. It's best to just keep the beige on one side and the white on the other. Keep them in the position that you'll be sewing them. Just sew them through. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward this real quick while well, it will go real quick. I will be sewing slow. Once they are all sewn, we're going to take these over and press every single one of them towards this beige color. All right, so I'm going to go press all this. Okay, once you have all of those pressed nicely towards that, we're just going to add these now to the pink color. So you're literally going to lay this on top. They should be exactly the same size, like that, and sew it on through to create a half square triangle, or 1/4 square triangle, half triangle, 1/4 square half triangle. I actually don't know what these are called. Something like that. So they should be exactly the same size, and all you have to do is sew them through. So I'm just lining them up, just like that. Da 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 da. Sewing it through. And you can put the solid one on the top or whatever, however you feel like sewing it. All right, so back into fast forward while I sew up all 32 of these. I think there's 32, something like that. And what do you know? Ran out of bobbin right at that last. I mean, seriously? Ah, all right. Well, I'll talk through the rest of this then while I change my, put a bobbin in just to sew not even 3/4 of an inch. My goodness. Yep, that happens, people. That happens. All right, so I'm going to sew this. The next step is to, not make this not work. Something is wrong. The next step is to make sure things are sewing correctly. My goodness. All right, let's try that again. Troubleshooting problems. All right, well, let's sew. No, it's tangling. Look at that. I got to fix my machine so that it sews properly, or else we're going to have big messes like this. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and snip these apart and fix this off camera. And then the next step is to press these all. Just press them all like this towards the pink. Okay, and then we're going to trim them to that magic number it says. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this disaster. See you in a minute. I have a little tip when trimming your quarter square, half square, whatever you want to call these triangles. So say you have a square ruler and one side of your square ruler right here is half mark. You want to use the side that's not if you're not doing halves. But the little secret here is put a line at the number you are going for. In my case, right here, and I'm going to just bypass that enough. Okay. And then I'm going to put another piece on the number that I'm going for. So I'm going to have another line that crosses that at that mark, just like this. And there I have the square size that I'm looking for. And when I line this up to square it, I'm actually going to make sure that my diagonal line touches right there. See? Touches right here. And I actually don't need to trim that at all whatsoever. There, right there. I literally just need to cut the dog ear off. So it might just be dog ear trimming. I'm going to make sure that 45 is on there though. I'm going to line this up. I could see right here and right here. I don't need to trim that one either. So I'm going to go ahead, just so that you guys know, here's that little trick. You could also do it on any other ruler. So any other ruler that has that. So you can come over to the number you need right here. To that one right here. Line that tape up on that ruler. Cross over. Go to the next side's number. Oh, I probably should have did it this way, honestly, because that's where my point is. So we're going to come to right here. And this is just washi tape. It comes off easily, goes on easily. And then you would line across it with the next one. Right there and right there. That way you're not always searching for that strange number that you need every single time on your rulers. You can just put some washi tape on it and then it comes right off when you're done. But apparently I don't need to trim these because they are the size. I'm going to check a couple more of them, but right there, look at that. Oops, line it back up. I don't need to trim anything. It is the size it needs to be. So I'm just going to go ahead and trim off the dog ears. But if you do need to trim at all whatsoever at the slightest, I mean, that's perfect. Then that is a way to do it. But it does say to trim it in the instructions. So that's why I grabbed the rulers to do this. But it's not an odd number. It's an even number. Well, sort of. But I just wanted to make sure I could see it on my rulers. So there's a trick for you. Again, it's just washi tape. You can find it anywhere online. Just type in washi tape and you can get it all sorts of colors and it's easy to mark the rulers. So there's a tip. I'm just going to trim the dog ears off of this. All right. Now to sew them together into rows of 8. And we're going to lay them out according to the diagram. So I'm just going to kind of try to pay attention to my diagram, and I'm going to make 8 exactly, I'm going to make a few of these exactly the same. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm going to make 8 exactly like, or 4 now like this with 8 in them. So I'm literally just going to lay them out exactly the same. Oops. So I just need 4 of these piles. Follow the diagram on the pattern. Try not to get them messed up. Just like that. All right, so now I'm just going to sew them, these 4 rows of 8. I'm literally just going to put this one on, attach the next, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to go over to the machine and sew these. So I went ahead and picked them all up in a row, exactly how they need to be sewn, and I'm literally just going to put them right sides together, sew it. It's just all pressed to one direction, so I just need to press them in one direction. So I'm going to nest this seam. And just press everything one way. So I'm going to the right with all the seams. And this will nest right here because it's all pressed to the beige. I'm just using my finger for now, and then when I get to the sewing machine, to the iron, I will give it all a regular press. And one more to add, and one of the rows will be done. Just like that. All right, so I'm just going to do this whole thing all over again, except with the next and the next and the next. So I'm going to just go ahead and put it in fast forward. All right, now that they are sewn, I'm going to take it over and press it, and I'll meet you at the quilting table where we can lay out all the parts and pieces. All right, so now I have these units right here. And what I'm going to do now is lay this out. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my centerpiece. I got my 4 little corners. I'm going to lay this down first, and then I'm going to look and see which way it has these starting this way like that, down here, right here, and this right here. Okay, so this will go, oh, it gets a dash between it first. Okay, so that would be the one that I royally screwed up and has seams in it. Yours probably don't have seams, but mine has seams because I messed mine up. So those will go here and here. Okay, and then let's see. These will go in 4 corners. Oh, I need those. And 4 corners. Then I'm assuming, let's see. Yep, between that goes this one and this one. And the same down here, which I'm not sure you can even see up here. There, right here. Let's scoot it down that way some. And then ones that are the longest, let's see, hold on, we'll figure that out. These also have seams in it because, again, I messed up. So these are the shorter ones. All right, so the shorter ones will go here. Come on. That. Once all these seam allowances are gone, then it'll be fine. And one right here. Okay. And then 2 will go on the sides, like this, and like that. And then those last long pieces will go on the top and bottom, which I'll do that last. For now, we need to attach this to this. So I'm going to go ahead now and sew these 2 sides on first. All right, once those are on, we're going to press these under towards the center. Once those are on, now I'm going to go ahead and sew on the 2 side pieces. So let's go ahead and sew those. And then I'm also going to take this piece, these 2 ends and the 4 corners on both the top and bottom, and sew these as well. Now I'm going to go ahead and press all these parts and pieces the way the directions say to. They say to press these in on the big panel part, and they kind of want to go that way. And then these, we're pressing everything out and away on both sides. So now I'm going to attach my white pieces right here and there. Now I'm going to go ahead and press these towards this. Once that's pressed, we're going to go ahead and attach this, but we're going to line these up right here and right here. So I'm going to go ahead and line those dashes up and make it all fit nicely, and then I'll do the same with this one. So I'm going to put it right sides together, and I'm going to pin it and clip it to line right up. All right, now that I got them clipped, I'm just going to go ahead and sew them on. Now that that's on, now to add the 2 sides. So I'm just going to make sure it's on the correct side too. So this was my top and bottom because of my little dashes, which even though I clipped it, they still didn't line up. But guess what? I don't care because it's finished better than perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and sew these sides on, and then I'll put the top and bottom on, and it'll be ready to quilt. All right, and there it is. Now all I have to do is quilt it, and then the binding will be that right there. So that will be the binding all the way around. And that's it. So I'm going to take it to the long arm and quilt it up. All right, time for project number 2, which is the little notions box. I like these little things because they help clean up. So you can see right there, little notions box. They help clean up my desk space or any space that I need to clean. So here's one side of the fabric. There's going to be the other side, and then it has the fusible, and all I have to do is follow the directions to put it together, which should be super duper looper easy. Okay, so I'm gonna fuse the fleece to whatever side, it really doesn't matter, and then cut some corners and then sew them, and yeah. Let me get to it real quick. So now I have them pressed. Well, this one is pressed to that, and this one is not pressed to anything, but it's pressed. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out what it says. Just cutting out what it says to cut. I'm very careful about my cutting it out. I stop that rotary cutter right at the edge of the ruler, so sometimes I don't fully get it, and sometimes I do, just like that. So every now and then, let's see, in one of them, like you can see, a tiny little 1/8 of an inch about area. Throw those aside, cut the same out of this. You can draw them too and then just cut them out with scissors, which is sometimes what I do, but most times I just cut like that. Oops, see, like that one didn't catch all the way because it didn't go the whole way. So I know this looks kind of odd, but just give it a second. Right there. We're going to go ahead now and right sides together. I'm going to show you this corner to this one, right sides together, and I'm going to sew with a 1/4 inch seam. Then I'm going to open it up and do this one, that one, and the last one. And I'm going to do the same thing with this and then press the seams open. So let me do that. So you should have something that looks like this. Okay, so it looks like a basket already. So I'm going to press these seams open right here at the iron, and then I'm going to do these. Same thing, and press it open. So I'm going to go ahead and sew this one to where it looks like a box like that. So there I have that. I'm going to go ahead now and press them open. So once that's done, this is what they look like. It's best if you press them with the right side out and then just hold it like this and put the iron up into the corner and hold it and put the iron up into the corner if you've never made one of these before. All right, so now what I'm going to do is flip this wrong side out and this right side out, and I'm going to place them into each other, matching up my corners. Just going to smooth it out in there. You can make bigger squares if you want to, if you just use bigger pieces to start and bigger corners. So I'm going to go ahead now, since these are matched, I'm going to leave an opening about right here to turn it. And I am literally just going to go all the way around this edge with a 1/4 inch seam. I'm going to sew all the way around it. All right, I sewed around the perimeter, but I left an opening so that I can turn it out. And I backstitched, but obviously my back stitches never stay. So now I'm just going to go ahead and poke the whole thing out like this. Poke it completely out. I'm going to push out my little corners of this first on this outside piece. And then I'm going to flop that in there and push those corners. And now I'm going to take this over to the iron, and I am going to align this up. I'm also going to fold this over a 1/4 of an inch on both of these, just like this. And I'm going to press that down where it's folded. Can you see me folding it right there? I'm going to fold one side, and then I'll fold this side and press them onto each other, and then equal this whole entire thing out right here along this edge. So I'm going to take this over the iron and do that real quick. All right, you can see that I have folded over a 1/4 of an inch, and I used the iron to press it nice and flat. So now all I really need to do is stitch all the way around the edge. And you can see I lined them up and pressed it so that it's nice and flush all the way around. The picture shows it folded over like this. Just a small lip like that. That's what the picture shows. But I don't really care for it that way. I like it to be bigger, but this is pretty much the bowl where you can stick your clips in. So if you don't have a jar, you just make yourself a little bowl like this, and you can keep your clips in it, or your rotary cutter, or whatever. You can put bobbins in it. You can put whatever you want because it's your bowl. You can even use it next to the couch for hand sewing stuff. I mean, whatever you want to use these for, that is completely up to you. I personally like it. I kind of put a lot of little dust in there. I personally like it up like this so that I can put taller items in here. So it'll fit things like your snips and your rotary cutter and whatever else you want to stick inside of your little bowl. Like I said, you can use it for whatever you want. If you don't want your glasses getting scratched, you stick your glasses in there. I mean, it's up to you, whatever you want to do with it. But like I said, if you wanted to make these, you could actually just use a bigger square and just think 1/4 of your square. So those of you who've been sewing a while and understand what I'm saying here. So you have a square and you take 1/4 of that number of that square. So if it's a 16, then 1/4 of that is 4, right? So you would take that 1/4 and cut that 1/4 out of all 4 corners, and that's how your square will come out. This one came out almost 5 inches by almost 5 inches. So if you think about it, a 16-inch square will give you almost 8 inches, I think, and then it'll be taller, like that tall. So it'd be like 4 inches tall or so by 8 inches in the middle. You know what I mean? So if you think about it, you can make it with whatever size you want. I'm going to make a bunch of these, I think, for my 8.5-inch blocks and for my a lot of my pre-cuts. That way I can just stick them all inside the bin and it has tall walls and I can just transport it however I want. All right, let's take a look at the quilt. There is my finished quilt. Nice table topper. Let's see, it goes this way. In my world, I look at the seams so I can know what it is. So there's the quilt. I just did a wave on it. There was no sense in overly quilting this. It doesn't really need it. I did like a blush color on top thread, and then I did a like taupe-ish gray color on the back. It's one of those, you know, kind of things that reads with both. And it turned out fabulous. So there's that. There's my little project. So I can put things in there. There's the back of the quilt. Ooh, I'm pulling threads. Everything I do, I'm just picking up threads more and more. I named it Ribbons and Flowers because the name of it was Ribbon Quilt, but I liked it called Ribbon and Flowers because, you know, it's ribbons and flowers. So there that is. Beautiful. All right, thank you guys for watching. I love it. It's great. Turned out amazing. And I hope you enjoyed my video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.